I would like to start out this episode by advising the content is completely inspired by Moriah Elizabeth's own Squishy Makeover Series. Now that I've stated the obvious, hey there, I'm Di, and today I'm diving into my mystery box that I introduced about a month ago during a Create This Book episode where I designed some squishies. I asked you in that video which items from the mystery box and designs from my Create This Book you would like to see customised. If you're feeling confused, go watch that episode, then head back over here. The squishies were suggested by several of you in the comments, so today we're going to tackle two of them. So let's get a closer look at these squishies. I had originally planned to turn these into Animal Crossing characters, but that was a few years ago now. I'm over that idea, so these poor little guys have just been sitting gathering dust along with other redundant project ideas. We have a pink unicorn that looks more like a one-horned pig to me, and a bear with a real heart theme going on, plus what looks like cookies for ears? I don't know. I'm not really into these designs. I got them more for their potential. We'll start with the pig-looking unicorn. Piggycorn? Hey, might save that idea for later. Let's bring in the designs I created from my Create This Book so I can see what I need to do. We are going to transform Piggycorn into Billy the Goat. Maybe not a glamorous animal, but I think this goat will be super cute if I can pull it off, but we need to do some modification. Firstly, we need a total horn overhaul, which requires a donor horn. I have this octopus that we can borrow. No, steal a horn from. It's not the perfect shape and size, but I can work with it. Before I go performing surgery though, I'm gonna give this squishy a light sanding so the paint job I do later will stick. I've watched enough squishy makeovers by the master, Moriah Elizabeth, to know this is a crucial first step. Next, I'll try and trim off some excess seam lines. Realise it's quite detailed work, so on with my eyes. That's better. While I was doing that, I noticed the long tail that looks a bit like a chicken leg, and trim it down to be more the size of a goat tail. Then it's time to tackle that horn. So let's chop it off, smooth out the wound, and get the donor horn. While stealing the horn, I spot a tentacle, and some weird part of my brain says, hey, that tentacle would make a perfect goat beard. So sorry, Miss Octopus, you are now losing a tentacle too. Oh my, that looks unfortunate. That's better. Right, let's suss out these horns. Wow, they're quite different, aren't they? I do momentarily consider leaning into these mismatched horns, but seems everything else is so symmetrical on this goat, I'll shave down the bigger horn. Close enough's good enough. While we're here, let's shape up the goatee. I'm going to use tacky glue to attach the additions into place. I got this idea from watching another squishy makeover guru, Bellamina, who also does fabulous work. I cut off some of the mane and pop the horns into place, but the elastic bands are just not holding, so I end up rigging up my own glue drying contraption using a few heavy books and a roll of duct tape. Then I attach the octopus tentacle, but this time the elastic band works. Looks like he's got a sore tooth or something. Then I go around all the surgery seams and exposed flesh with slick paint. This will reinforce the joints, plus smooth out the bubbly foam. Why I thought red would be a good choice, I don't know, but it is really starting to look like a surgery gone wrong. Ugh. Several coats are needed to try and smooth this out and get it looking good. All of the surgery's done. Looking a little demonic there, Billy, with your red horns and goatee. Let's fix that by giving you a coat of matte white fabric paint. I want a complete blank canvas to work with, so I'm doing about 3 coats for decent coverage. I've got to say, so far I'm feeling pretty good about this makeover. I love to customise things, but I was worried this wasn't going to be easy. But I think the trick is to take my time, allow things to dry completely, and keep it simple. I mean, I even got things looking really smooth where I chopped stuff off. Well, that's what I thought, until I painted it white and it showed up how lumpy and bumpy the tail removal site is. I certainly wouldn't have made a good plastic surgeon. Time to give Billy some colour. I go for a nice soft orange, and I'm just going to cover the whole thing, seems this is his main colour. Then I'll go back in with the details. There is something really satisfying about applying coloured paint to a completely blank canvas, or in this case, a blank squishy. And something about painting a 3D object is so darn appealing to me. Ooh, you can really see that chunky looking leg. With a few coats completely dry on the front, I paint the back and realise I probably should have cut off the mane as well. But hey, maybe Billy got hair plugs and is now rocking a fabulous mullet. If I thought painting orange onto the blank squishy was satisfying, going in to do the details is even better. I tried to mix up a corally pink colour, but against the orange it just looks like baby pink. But I don't hate it, and I'm sure Billy with his super awesome mullet loves having pink hooves too. After using the same pink for the ears, I use a creamy colour to paint Billy's beard, which I textured earlier using slick paint, which I really like the look of that textured goatee. The same cream colour is used for his muzzle and the mullet. I also initially used his cream colour for the tail, but it looked too much like a ponytail for me, so I changed the colour later. Using a soft brown, I give Billy some chest hair, and the same brown for his little horns. After doing some yellow for his earring, I can no longer delay my nemesis, the face. More importantly, the eyes. I try to make this easier myself by filling in the existing indents with white. For the pupils, I actually used the lid of a thick marker as a stencil by colouring its rim with black charcoal, then pressing it onto the squishy, and then just filling it in with paint. It really did work well. Then, over the top of all that, I use a darker shade of the orange to fill in the eyelids to give Billy a bit of a sleepy look. He's a stargazer, is Billy, so maybe he's tired of all those late nights up watching the stars. And seems he's a stargazer, I think the perfect finishing touch is some shooting star highlights in his eyes. And oh my goodness, I don't normally feel this good after a project until I've left it alone for a few days, but this little guy, Billy, I'm so happy with him. I think he's nearly perfect. He looks just like what I planned out in my Create This book, with only a few details changed. He's so adorable. The only thing that bothers me a bit is the extra face I see on his muzzle. That little smiley right there, but I don't care. Billy the stargazing goat has been brought to life and I love him. So let's see if I can have just as much success with the heart bear. She won't be a heart bear for long, as my character design will turn her into an art bear. I would really like to lose all of the hearts, including her heart glasses, ears and stomach. But I think my plastic surgery skills are just not good enough to remove the glasses without some real scarring, so they'll have to stay. The ears and stomach, however, will go. So let's prep her for surgery with a good old sanding. Then again, removing any excess seam lines, where I happen to stumble upon a really deep hole in her head. Wow, how am I not hitting your brain? Do you have one? Poor thing. Now to tackle this heart on her chest. Let me just cut that right out of there for you. Wait, no heart and no brain? Do we need to see the Wizard of Oz? We'll squeeze in a new brain and cover up that old heart. Plus, patch up any other seams and holes. Then I fill in her heart ears with slick paint and use a tongue depressor to smooth it out. See, I'm a doctor from way back. Tongue depressors go in the ear. Time for the final stage of the surgery with a few coats of matte white paint to give us that satisfying blank canvas. Prep stage was definitely quicker for this little girl, but I don't think she's looking quite so flawless. I think it's the surgery to her belly that has left scarring front and centre. But here, we love you for who you are, scars and all, so I'm not going to work to hide them, but let them be a part of her. Next for Mab is to mix up her custom base colour. Yes, her name is Mab, and it stands for Messy Art Bear, as she is a bear, she is an artist, and she is rather messy. A little bear after my own heart, as I do get rather messy myself. Just watch my hands throughout my videos. I try my best to keep them clean, but I just can't help myself. After the first coat, I realised that purple wasn't correct, so fix it to look more pastel and do a few more coats. Okay Mab, let's get your apron on, sweetie. Billy the goat seemed to be a real warm colour palette, whereas for Mab I'm using cooler tones. That wasn't intentional, but I like the contrast between the two characters. Does she look a little indecent back there? The ears still have that damn heart indent, but instead of fussing over it, I just paint on the shape I want and hope it's not too noticeable. The same aqua colour gets used on her muzzle. Okay, it's eye time, and I'd wish I did the same method as I did for Billy's eyes, where I paint all the white, wait for it to dry, then layer over the top with the full black pupil, wait for it to dry, then over the top with the details. But because I thought it would be quicker, I'm blocking in the colours here rather than layering. and it's not as easy, plus not as neat a finish. So I must remember this for next time, if there is a next time. A sketch on her nose and mouth using a charcoal pencil, which works really well, and some little whisker dots. Not sure if bears are supposed to have those. We mustn't forget her little paintbrushes in her apron pocket. And she wouldn't be Mab without her messy paint splotches. Instead of mixing up new paint, I used colours from Billy's makeover to splatter all over her, and the warm colours pop nicely on the cooler tones. I will also point out that Mab here has not one splotch of paint on her apron, but her fur is covered. Like I did with her glasses, I recycle one of the blue colours from her apron to give her some blue eyes. I learnt about recycling colours from watching Moriah. I highly recommend her channel, you can learn so much from her. Finally, I do some highlights on her eyes, her little bare nose, plus on all the paint splotches just to help them pop a little more. Oh my, look at you Mab, you are so sweet. I don't mind her having glasses, I actually probably prefer it, otherwise her face would have been too simple. Although I would have liked just plain round glasses, but hey, it is what it is. I am seriously chuffed at how these squishies turned out, and doing them was so fun. I love creating characters with different personalities, and squishies are just ideal for that. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see me do it again, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you want, and leave a comment. Anyway, that's all from me. Hope to see you next time.